right, welcome to Sonoma Side Show, located somewhere at the base of the beautiful Blue Mountains in eastern Oregon. I'm your host, Les the Snowman Kinnear. And tonight, we have a very special guest, the one, the only, mi hombre from the early days, my best homie, but not in a broke-back mountain way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, Billy Jack Murphy. Welcome to the show, Billy Jack Murphy.
And I'd like to welcome you to a reverse Sonoma Side Show.
Oh.
Grubby, how far did we go back?
A couple of years. There's no reverses, though. You can't pull a reverse.
No, there is. How far do we go back, brother?
Well, I can tell you specifically 1987.
Was it 87?
Mm-hmm. January of 87.
How did you and I think it was before January. How did we get encountered?
How dare you question me on my show?
You just tell the story.
What do you mean? How'd we meet? We both went to school together.
You showed up, you had some sick-ass boots, and you wore some pants. You rocked around in some pearl snaps.
What in the hell?
They were unsnapped, or they were untucked. Pearl snaps.
Okay, all right. I don't know. I mean,
how did you and I make a bond, brother?
I'm not sure what you're speaking of. I'm gonna say that we met in junior high. We both had a similar immature sense of humor. So let me just back up here, okay? So Billy Jack Murphy, second time he's been on the show. He's on the first episode 2. When I was first getting started on the audio version, and
these lights are bright, and that's why I'm shaded up.
Yeah, he shaded up because I asked him to wear shades because I think it's cool. And so anyways, he was on the show that time, and we had fun doing that. And then fast forward now, we're doing the video version, and he happened to come home to our hometown to see his mama and family and touch base with everybody. So I said, you have to stop by and let's do a podcast. So he was gracious enough to pop in. He hasn't been drinking.
And then I decided to reverse this Sonoman into a reverse Sonoman.
Which would be a double back to me, though.
If that's... and I feel,
anyways, all right.
I feel really good about that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's out there, if you've ever... if you've ever been in conflict with anybody, you know what? The world comes back around. And yeah.
Okay.
This is one of my, that guy is one of the greatest human beings in the world, and I love him dearly.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Yeah. And here we are. And these shades are for any tears that come out.
Yeah, because he's going to go there. But I mean, nobody wants to hear about me. We want to hear about you.
That's why I brought it to you.
So here we are. We got Billy Jack. He's straight out of Montana. Okay? I mean, if there's anybody with two homes, it's this guy. Montana and Pilot Rock, Oregon. You are if you could, a Reader's Digest. Tell us who you are and what you're doing up there and what you do for a living and just the things you do in the community and not the inappropriate stuff. I'm just talking all the good things. Yeah.
So Reader's Digest in a minute. Grew up out in PR. Loved it there. Knew I couldn't stay there. I was either prison or mill bound or pumping gas, which I hear now in Oregon, you don't have to pump your own gas.
We're getting close. It's almost there.
Okay.
Yep.
So
It's not 100%.
I'd still be pumping gas.
Yep.
Had to get out of town and got out of town. Was coming back to the Northwest to try to get back a little closer to home, and had a beautiful woman in Dillon, Montana. Oli Else gave me some money to stay there at her school in Dillon at Western Montana College. Finished out my degree there and met a beautiful woman there, and have stayed there in Montana. We're both school teachers there.
Oh,
and
boy.
Yep,
What?
Dumb as hair.
Tell what level? High school?
My wife is a first grade teacher, and I am a high school teacher. And
what's that like? Because, when anybody watching this, when you get with your best friends from high school and you think back and that's all you do is talk about all these things you did, and you remember the teachers you had and the way we tormented them. So fast forward now, and you're about ready to retire. So you've had a full career as a teacher. How strange has it been on both sides of that?
So I talked to the greatest guy in the world, Deacon Perkins, and he said, Murph, the worst students make the best teachers. And he said, you're going to do fine.
That's great.
And the kids in the high school that I have are either scared of me or hate me, whatever, but they don't mess with me. So I've been a pretty good run.
Yeah, and through your education career, you've also coached a ton. I know that. And all sports, or is there a sport you didn't coach?
Very little football, but enough football, enough track to know that track was my favorite. Cross country was awesome. Basketball was great. Girls basketball was better because the girls listen and the boys don't.
Imagine that. My dad was a teacher also, educator his whole life, and he coached, and he always said his favorite sport to coach was track.
Yeah.
He liked the individual, the way you could...
Yeah. And especially with track, you can say, hey, if you can break down an event and be like, well, you didn't rock your heel over, or you didn't push off your toe, or you didn't spin your hip quick enough around, then it's fun. Then it's fun if they work on it.
Yeah. And if they don't, you just shock them.
I'd love to.
Cattle prod.
I'd love to.
In Montana, you can still use the cattle prod.
Eastern Montana.
Okay.
Because Western Montana, no, it's not allowed. Eastern Montana, you can.
So, thinking about these far off places and myself moving around a bunch, I went to school in a little place called Chugwater, Wyoming. I don't recall exactly what grade it was. It was somewhere between 4th and, let's say, 5th, right? Somewhere in there. And
hashtag Chugwater chili.
And so the other day, I'm out at my stepdad's house, and I'm BSing with him, and we're talking about when we lived out there near Chugwater, and he told me about this little place that did chili, and that everybody loved this chili. I don't remember the chili. I was young, right? And I said, well, what? And so I told him I was going to go back there someday. I said, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to go to the school, and I'm going to see if they still have records of me, by chance. Yeah. Just for fun, because I know I was there. And the thing that sticks out to me most about the Chugwater School District was 2 things I learned there. One, the dogs are barking, sorry. One was...
don't talk back to your teachers?
Yes, because they still... No, you're right. Because I obviously did. And they have... they still at the time paddled kids. And so I got sent to the principal's office, and this dude had a paddle hanging up in the back, and changed my whole behavior after that. Oh, I was a great student after that. But anyways, that, and then a gift that place gave me was art. I took an art class there, and a teacher there showed me, I specifically remember the painting. He showed me how to do shadows on a mountain. And when it clicked with me that how to do that trick of the eye with painting, it stuck with me all these years. And I've always loved painting, and I'm not saying I'm any good, but you know, I do lots of paintings all the time, just boxes of paintings. And I think back, it all started in Chugwater, Wyoming, you know. And keep in mind, we lived, I don't know, 20 miles, 30 miles out of town on the Kaufman Ranch, and this like SUV would pick us up. It was a Suburban for school. I mean, we lived in the middle of nowhere, and all we ate was antelope. It tasted terrible. It was terrible. Ugh. But anyways, I digress.
You digress, but that would be where, to go back to the reverse phenomenon, some of the greatest pencil sketches I ever saw when I was in high school were done from you.
No.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep. And I can't talk about two of them on this show because I don't want to talk about anything negative.
Because we did the Titanic thing where I drew you naked. No, sorry.
No, that wasn't me. Yeah. Nope. I am the king of the ocean. No. Yeah, you did a sketch, and yeah, it was amazing. Shake your thing there, brother.
Oh, it's okay. It's still working.
I don't like it when
you want to see it.
I don't like it when it's not showing.
Okay, I will remind me.
Because I don't.
Look at this guy. Camera 2, go ahead. So, anyways, yes, Chugwater and you know Chugwater. What's funny is I mean, you knew about Chugwater probably from me as a kid telling you about living in Chugwater.
Yes.
And then later in your life.
But shortly thereafter, I would drive through Chugwater.
Yes.
With Dad to go spend summers or whatever.
And you're like, Les said he lived here. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dale, maybe? No. Well,
bigger than Dale because it had a full-on Sinclair station.
Rick told me that Rick said he was somewhere and it came up, Chugwater, Wyoming, and the person told him, "Oh, it's grown. There's a like a motel. They got a brand new."
Oh, they got a motel.
Yes, brand new motel, and so a motel, a school, that place. Can you talk about the chili thing? How'd you know about that?
So,
because I didn't know anything about that till
I went to school at Cheyenne for a couple of years at the community college, and all of our regional rodeos were, within spitting distance of there. And so when you would drive by Chugwater, and some of them were east, some of them were west, but if you drove through Chugwater, stop off at the world's famous Chugwater chili.
I had no idea.
And there were 2 times where we had to go to Chadron, Nebraska, and damn near didn't make it back because the snow in April was so bad that, yeah.
So let me point this out. Something interesting about our relationship, as far as me coming here, having moved around a bunch as a kid and been around all these places, and then I land in Pilot Rock. We become best buddies. I stay here. And this guy goes out and just travels all over the place. So, yeah, long story short, he ends up in Montana. He's a teacher. He's about ready to retire. He's got 3 beautiful children and happy life and all that good stuff. A farm. He's rich. But you left here and you didn't look back. To be honest, you traveled all over the place, rodeoing, living out just some of the craziest stories.
And here's why I couldn't. Had you and I stayed here together, one or both of us is prison or dead.
Yeah, for sure.
I love you, but you're a horrible mix for me.
In a purely plutonic way.
Yes. And so I knew I had to get out.
Yes, the road called you.
Got out, and
I mean, how many years you spent on the road?
Going or just being gone or
traveling and rodeoing?
I started riding bucking horses and fighting bulls. I started fighting bulls when I was 18. I started riding broncs when I was 18. My youngest daughter is 17. And I quit when she was probably 5, so I can't do the math at this point. But that was
me neither.
That was it.
Yeah.
Knew I needed to stay home. The best. That was going to be best for me.
I mean,
for them.
The stories you must have from the road and all those. I've heard them, obviously, but I always loved hearing about them and the places you went and the people you met and because the rodeo life, I mean, it's like anything, any sport. There's this whole culture, right? And a whole lifestyle, and everybody is migrating to events and doing stuff, and you're all trying to land the best, not only the best time and money and all that, but you have these travel routes. And for the guys low on the pole, we're talking about a 96 Lincoln 4-door, and you're all in it, and then you rent that place in town that nobody would ever rent, the hotel. That's what you're staying in. You did that shit in the beginning.
Yeah, it would be fun to say that we were all migrating around to the same spots, but there might be 3 guys headed to some town in South Dakota and 2 guys headed to northern Montana and 3 guys headed to central Wyoming, and you just you fell in wherever you could fall in.
And how'd you pick that? Like by what you thought you could do best at?
So you call up and you get on the phone at Colorado Springs and you say, I need to enter here and this is my preference. This is my second preference for dates. And then, so Les might have entered Friday at Colorado Springs and I entered Saturday at Colorado Springs, but our preferences he might not have got his first, and I might have got my preference for first at Saturday. And so we might meet up somewhere in between there. And then, hey, can somebody take my pickup to so-and-so because I'm going there on Sunday? And we might jump in an outfit and go to Colorado Springs from wherever we were at, and you just bail in.
I think of, and even
chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was staying here that time, every once in a while you would come through town and you would be in, you and a buddy would be making some sort of quick loop and off to the next rodeo. But you've told me all these stories and what a fun life. It's probably cool that you did it and you love it. You couldn't do that forever, right? But
no. It was amazing then. Absolutely not now. I had a friend pick me up from Cheyenne one day on a Thursday and say, he had all my gear loaded and he said, let's go. Where are we going? And I think we went to Prineville or Madras, something like that. And on the way back, we come back and stopped at Sampson's, and he still talks about you hoisting a beer mug towards your mouth and burping into the beer mug at Sampson's before it burned down.
I don't know what he's talking about, folks.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It was probably a water glass.
Yeah.
And we got into a pickle or two before we made a rack home.
That's so cool. Yeah,
no,
I remember those times. It was fun. And since I didn't travel, it was always fun to hear your stories about, bar fights and this and that and everywhere you went. But anyways, you finally came to your senses. You settled down. You had some children, and now your girls are all just about out of the house.
So, 3 beautiful girls. Mom, that's awesome. way awesomer than I am.
Out of your league.
Yep, I married up.
Good job.
2 of the 3 girls are going into education. One of them is going to be doing her student teaching and living in the basement of mom and dad's house this fall, which is cool.
Yeah.
And she raised some beautiful Hereford cows. Hashtag Lawrence cows.
Okay.
That's a shout out.
I like it. I like it.
She's got some beautiful registered Hereford cows. She'll be coming back home. One of them is going to be a sophomore, headed to Montana State University Northern, which is in Havre, which is 13 miles from Canada. But the neat part is it's a $29 flight.
Really?
I can get a $29 flight from Billings to Havre.
Wow.
And you know how many Caesars it takes to get to that? Yeah. It's about 5.
Right.
So, and then one that is a senior at HP, and she's going to go into, I believe, occupational therapy, which is about 8 years of college.
Ooh, long-term investment.
So I'm hoping she's good at what she does and get some scholarship money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I ain't paying for it.
Well, do they take coupons or?
No, well, Bimart, they do they do a membership deal from Bimart.
Check
But we don't have a Bimart where we
no
live.
Bimarts where you're at, huh?
No. So back to the reverse, Sonoman. Your children?
Mm-hmm.
Have you discussed your children?
Oh, many times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I talk about Blake. Okay, thank you for the segue.
Okay.
So, Jenny's been on the show. Bailey's going to be on the show. Wendy's been on the show twice. Blake's been on.
This is my second time, too.
Blake's been on once. And, actually, he's been on a couple times. I'll call him sometimes. And, but I'm glad to segue because I want to bring up what Blake's up to. My son, he's down in Peoria, Arizona, and he's going to Grand Canyon University. He's going to graduate here pretty soon, but he's also on the, it's like the GI Bill. They call it, there's a couple bills now, and he's on the 9/11 bill, but so he's going to keep going to school even though he's done because he wants to take as much of his bill from being in the military, and I'm like, hell
take
yeah,
it.
Keep going, take
it.
Basket weaving if you have to, because they're you earned it. Actually, you earned it.
Otherwise, you have to work for a living.
Yeah, and I'm like, you remember all those times you hated the military? Being because he was overseas the entire time.
Yeah,
I mean Japan. To Germany to Kuwait. He was at Kuwait, and his deployment, he got stuck there for a little bit extra longer. So, anyways, so he goes to Arizona. He's going to school. I've mentioned this before. He's got a buddy who's in the UFC who lives there. That's the guy that talked him into coming down there. He rents a house from him and a bunch of guys, and they all train at the dojo. The dojo.
Tell me, is he stacked? Is he skinny like me and you?
Blake? He's getting, well, he's got real legs for one. Like,
okay, so
I was really happy about that. He didn't get my grasshopper legs. But yeah, he's strong. He's a strong kid. He's a big kid, good looking kid. And so,
what are we trying to get him a date?
Actually, he does really well in that. I want him to settle down.
He does.
I want him to settle down, but he won't. He's too picky. But
no,
so, anyways, he's
picky.
Here he is in
Be
AZ.
picky, brother.
He's training at the gym that Sean goes to, and the sensei is Sean's trainer and buddy. Anyways, this guy's really cool. Tim Welch Jiu-Jitsu, very cool. But Blake, God,
I don't think so,
dude. I'm telling you what. I mean, I know you and I are tough, but
he's a bad mofo.
When I walked into the dojo, okay, I walked in there and I'm like, I'm from Part of the Rock. I don't wrestle. But then I got in there and I watched all these people and I was like,
oh yeah,
excuse me, can I get you a towel?
Mm-hmm.
You know. But anyways, so Blake has been training out there for a while now, and it's been fun because when I went down there, I spent a couple weeks with him. It was when he first started, right? And so now it's been, I don't know, a year or so. He now I see videos of him. I'm going to post a video during this when I'll add this in editing. The video of him he sent the other day, but now you can see it clicking, right?
Oh.
I've watched enough of the guys doing jiu-jitsu. I can see. And
so jiu-jitsu is more like wrestling type fighting, not like boxing.
No, jiu-jitsu, I would, you know, if anybody does jiu-jitsu, they'd probably strangle me talking about it. But the way I would describe it is it's all about the least amount of exertion to neutralize your person,
Okay.
without any damage. In the best world.
So like when my wife whoops my ass. Is that
Jiu-jitsu.
right?
Listen, I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was till a few years ago, and I'm a boxing fan day and night, you know, Mike Tyson era, but jiu-jitsu's where it's at. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how tough you are. If you get somebody who trains every day with jiu-jitsu,
They know how to.
they're going to have you on the ground and you're going to go, I give up. And here's the thing. Jiu-jitsu, people who train, and same with wrestlers. I always knew this about wrestlers, but wrestlers and jiu-jitsu folks, they don't care if they lose. They don't mind getting their ass kicked.
Because they've had it done before.
Because that's how they get good. They beat the shit out of each other. And I didn't know that. And as I've watched UFC, all those guys we see on TV fighting, they all spar in the background. And they beat the hell out of each other. And some win and some, you know, they're just training, constantly beating the hell of each other. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with one day you go into the gym and you're not that good. And the guy's whooping the hell out of you because it makes you better. And
I always thought if you go into something kind of a situation and there's a dude that has got them ears,
hell yes.
and he's got a neck,
Warning.
yeah, and he's got no chin because the muscles are just around here. Don't let that little bastard get a hold of you.
And I've always felt that way about wrestlers. I mean, I've always had respect for wrestlers. I know better. I don't wrestle, you know.
Yeah,
I'll stand up Queensberry rules, but
stay away from me,
yeah.
you little
But-
bastard.
But the jiu-jitsu guys, here's the thing about jiu-jitsu is it can be anyone. It can be the heavy-set gray-haired guy or the young little petite blonde or the middle-aged, and they're incredible. I mean, it's an incredible sport. But
Yeah.
let's move on because this
Yeah,
show's
please.
about you, not just
Please.
Blake.
It's
I
all
wanted to
about
add
me.
I wanted to add something. Wanted to announce this to the world. I do have dual citizenship now, and I hope. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am now. I'm excited. I'm a member of Slowjamistan.
And where is that from?
Oh, Slowjamistan. It is a micronation in Southern California. It's 11
Oh.
acres.
Oh,
Our main value, if you will, is no Crocs.
no.
No Crocs,
As
like
in
the
the
shoe
shoe.
wear. Yeah. But look it up.
How can I be a member?
Here's the funny thing. And now I know you're. Look it up. Slow Jam a Stan. So what it is this guy? I think he's a radio personality, DJ guy.
I think one of my kids in school told me about this
Okay.
guy.
He bought 11 acres and he's got this fictitious country. Now he's got a whole website.
But he's legit.
He's legit, but he plays a character and he wears this whole. He's the Sultan. He's the Sultan. But and they have all these goofy rules, and it is a real piece of property. And the cool thing is that what everybody's doing now is road trips. So you do a road trip to that property, and he's got a flag and signs up, and you can go get a picture, but you can get a passport, all this stuff. It's really cool. It's fun. It's just
I've not been there, or I applied, but
I applied
I think I also am a member
of Slojamistan.
or resident citizen
of Slojamistan. Now, if you pay $19.99, you can also become a member of the parliament or the councils, or take up some sort of governmentship, if you will. So, anyway.
God, you're handsome.
Hey, I'd like to bring up something here real quick.
I'd like to point this out. I get the side view.
This?
And holy cow.
Yeah. Let me point something out here, though. I want to talk.
I've seen the side view of this guy a couple times in my life.
Yeah. But the snow.
And most of the time I was driving, and I got to look over and see the other side. This side, much better.
Well, let me tell you this.
This is the good side.
I want to draw the attention.
Did I toss you off a little bit there?
Not at all.
Okay.
I want to draw attention to this right here, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't see it.
This thing, they can see it. Let me just move this out of the way.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Coming around.
No, it's actually they.
Oh, really?
Perfectly. This is
Do you
called
want it up on here?
No, it's fine. This is called the MOURA globe. My father bought this for me in a quaint little shop in Palm Springs.
It's moving.
I'm going to tell you, it was expensive, little booger, but it's a unique. Apparently, the artist designed them. They're in this special plastic globe with magnets, and the magnets react to ambient light, so it doesn't spin in the dark. So when the ambient light starts, so anyways, for the viewer's delight, and
it's spinning.
Yeah.
So how bad did I screw you up by going with the? This is a reverse Sonoma.
Not at all. Yeah. I'm so dialed in right now.
Oh, I know you're tight. I know.
Let me ask you about this, because I know I told you I was going to talk about this, and you kind of squirmed a little bit. The submarine that imploded.
Oh my God!
Now look.
So this is supposed to be funny.
It is not this.
Right.
Not the sub. No, I'm sorry.
Nope. The whole thing's supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
We're
it is.
Talk about cool shit.
I just
drink a beer.
But I will change it. I will change it after this, but I want to talk about this. Has anybody out there, write to the show, leskinner@gmail.com. Did this sub thing mess you up? Because I didn't think it would, but I started thinking about those people just laying down there and tapping and doing stuff.
I don't think they were tapping, brother.
They weren't at all. No, but remember, that's what they told us at first, the media. So we all of us spent days thinking these guys, and everybody was looking for them.
Yeah,
when really, an hour and 45 minutes into it, ka-tank, and down to the bottom, 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. So, anyways, I thought it was unique. I know a lot of people are pissed. They're like, hey, what about the migrant people on that ship? And that was terrible, too. And I get that and all that. But the sub thing messed me up just because, it just seems so bizarre to me that some dude had created some sub and people were paying him $250 a seat. So if he took 4 people, he's got $1 million to go to the bottom.
How many people go to or attempt to go to the top of Mount Everest per year?
Oh,
and how many people die on Mount Everest per year? So
it's right. So we freak out about the sub, but Everest is every day or every year.
Yep. It's uncharted.
It is.
I don't.
But the sub thing.
I don't like to say it's uncharted because. Oh boy, that's charted.
It's charted. I mean, John died here, and
So I'd like to break out as we segue to my next little song.
No. Won't work.
We're gonna go a cappella.
Oh,
are you ready?
No.
This is the only thing I know. Are you ready?
No,
I don't know anything.
Good, because that's an open key of a G for slide guitar. So I was really worried about what was going to happen there.
Yeah, I was going to do nothing because I know nothing on a guitar.
So you're in town. Why are you in town?
So, big family reunion.
Ooh, the Doherty clan.
Doherty clan, and that's what my T-shirt says. And I'll be wearing that all around town. Oh, if you see me about town
With a top hat.
with a top hat and a t-shirt, yeah, that'll be what I'm wearing. Probably not. No, there's some folks that came from Ireland and some folks that know lots about Doherty's here. And then the neat thing is, this is the neat thing, Doherty's and McLaughlin's have been intermarrying for 200 years. And that's no lie. So it'll be a two-family at least. Granddad was good enough to make sure that none of his kids married anybody that wasn't Catholic or wasn't Irish.
Oh, dare you.
And so they even allowed some Murphys in there. Be why I'm here.
Yep.
My wife is a German, and so he apparently didn't reach that far out.
No.
Yeah, she's Protestant German. So, yeah.
Have you done the DNA test things that people do?
Hell no.
The only reason I ask
Hell
that is
no.
I'm curious just how much Irish you are.
So mom has some Anderson.
Yep.
Mom's real Anderson.
Yep, I know. That's right.
And we've talked about this. Mom's real Anderson from somewhere way up north. So I guess the reason why I would look the way I look is because there's some Irish and some Scandinavian.
Yeah. What Vikings? Valhalla.
Yeah.
The other day I was looking at a kid's application, and he went to Valhalla High School, and I thought that had to be the baddest high school in the world.
Oh.
But I digress.
Yeah.
And so you've never taken that
No,
you have no interest.
Will not.
That stuff doesn't interest you. Why doesn't it interest you?
Because I'm afraid of setting my kids up for failure, because if one of them commits a crime and
I love that, actually. I used to not let people take pictures of me because I didn't know if I wanted to get into a life of crime.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah. I'm afraid that somewhere down the line somebody's going to get arrested for a crime, and well, your granddad 200 years ago took a test, and
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
So I got I think I'm pretty strong Irish, but I also think I'm pretty strong Scandinavian.
Yeah. That's probably why we get along.
There's some there were some Murphys and some Dohertys, and this is all pub material, because I had a guy who was a singer in a pub tell me this in Washington, D.C., and he told me where we were from.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to stop you right there. How many times, just answer the question, how many times have you been to D.C.?
15 maybe?
That is wild. So one of the cool things about your career in education is that you got to go along with, chaperone, and direct this where they take the students, every school does something similar, but to Washington, D.C. And I remember when you started doing it, and I'm just year after year. You've been so many times, and my grandfather and people who I know who are really into history, and I know you're a history teacher, but other people besides you that I know that are into history, always talk about D.C., and I remember that growing up, the history in history class in that area. And so you've been there 15 times. That's wild, and it must be like you're in Valhalla when you're there.
It's got to be 15 times at least. It's been crazy. I mean, every time there's just a big monumentous thing that happens. And one time a girl got sick, and a good friend of mine had to stay with her the next day while I took the group out. And that was a blast, except for my good friend had to stay with a sick kid.
Mm-hmm. What's the average amount of students that you take? And what's the age group?
So they're juniors in high school typically. Just depends. I mean, when I was at Harrison, Montana, Go Wildcats.
Wildcats.
I think we had a little better cheer than that.
Well, Rocket Pride.
I would take all the juniors, and sometimes that might be 10,
Right, because it was small.
might be 12.
Yeah. What a huge trip though for a rural community like that.
Oh man,
a rural school district like that.
And the next year we would go on their senior trip, which would be a week in Southern California.
Right. What did we?
Not, I don't.
Right out here.
Yeah, I think they said, "Would you like to go look at the mill?"
Yeah, I think we did. Didn't we tour the mill for our senior trip?
I think so.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. Find out where you're going to be working next week.
So you know, yeah. I just think that's an interesting fact. You've been to Washington D.C. a lot, and I think it's really cool. Although I have not been myself, I've been to the East Coast a couple times, but I can imagine the history there. And I remember going to visit. I met these people in Jamaica who were from Philly, and so they talked me into coming out. Me and Wendy coming out and seeing them one time, and we're like, all right. So, and we had the best time with these folks, and
out there in Philadelphia.
We went to Philly, we went to New York, right downtown.
Yeah.
You know, everything. Did all that stuff. You know, in a couple days. It was a quick trip, but I just remember thinking just how neat it was to be on the East Coast because of the history over there. Like, yeah, I know we have it on the West Coast too, but I knew, you know, as the crow flies, history started over there. So it was really cool to be on there. And we went in Philadelphia. We went out to the Liberty Bell.
Oh yeah,
and did some of that stuff. And we also went on it was the first time I was ever on a school bus with a keg. So the family, and let me start this in case Jay Nicoletti watches this. They are not in the mafia, even though they have a beer distribution business with the hockey store and. But Jay's in finance. Anyways, they rented a school bus and put a keg on it, and then all of us got inside of it. A bunch of us, a giant family, and we went to a bar in downtown Philly that was 3 levels. And while we were there, they started line dancing, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, yeah, everybody lined up, and I was like, whoa. And then one of the people in my group hit somebody with a beer bottle over the head, and it just crazy stories though. Philly, wow.
And you were just like, this is weird.
Listen, I'm from Pilot Rock.
Yeah. Hey, this is not how we behave.
Did Bill set this up?
Gosh darn it.
Listen, we've got programs. We got to take our pills. Anyways, I digress, and so yeah, what my point being is that traveling like that is so fun, and you get to see all these other areas, and it makes home a little more comfortable, even though it's fun going. Like, you want to go. That's the Viking in you. You want to go.
It makes home good.
It makes home good. And you grew up in a rural area, but you live in a rural area. So you still have that feeling, and pretty cool.
Myself and every one of those kids that I take, we go out there for a week, and I think I want to get back home quicker than they do. And as soon as everybody gets home, we just, hey, thanks, everything was great, and everybody just goes home. And most of the kids that I take got 4-H animals. They got a steer, or a pig, or lamb, and they just want to get home and see their kids.
You kill animals.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we do for a living.
Sorry.
We kill them for a living.
I've got 42 subscribers, just went down to 36. But I do love bacon. But anyways.
Yeah. And so them kids are just willing to get back home, and I love it because my sweet spot is a barn.
Yeah.
So, and my wife hates that because she's like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Good to see you."
Out in the barn.
Headed up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, when are you leaving this area here? When are you headed home?
So, we're going to do another little bit of a reverse here. When are you coming, Billings?
I'm coming in 1 year and 7 months. I've told you. As soon as I retire, I'm coming up there. I'm going to hang out for a while, and I'm going to come work with you. You're not going to pay me, and I'm not going to work for you because I'm not letting you tell me what to do.
No.
But I will go with you to the work site, and I will hang out, and I will, if you want me to chastise your workers, kids,
Well, unless you can speak Spanish.
Oh.
You can't probably chastise my workers.
I can speak some. I don't want to brag.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that tonight. You're headed home here after this weekend. It's been great. What's on the horizon for Billy Jack Murphy?
Okay. So immediately on the horizon, we got a couple of suppers with some big family people I never seen before, people I never heard of before, which will be kind of cool. And then I'm headed home on Sunday morning, probably 3 o'clock a.m. Got to beat her back home, and I got to get some jobs done.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you've got, you're a teacher by day, but stripper roof stripper.
I don't like to brag.
Roof, no, you do construction. You do, you're a contractor on the side.
Yep.
And so you do various jobs.
The rain's going to be gone, and I got to get about 2 months worth of jobs done within a week, and try to get some money done. And so,
You've always hustled, though, like that. Always
well,
had a hustle.
Both of us always said, when you need some money, there's going to be a $20 show up. Remember splitting wood for Granddad?
Anything. Somebody like, I can pay you $5 if you move this. Okay. I'll have to give you $20 if you sit on my lap. Okay. I did always,
Me and you split wood for Granddad for $20 one day, and we split wood and split wood and split wood, and he gave us $20, and we were rich.
Yeah. Oh, I remember going down to the local hangout for kids, and I had $20, and I bought a round of JoJo's and sodies for everybody. But anyways, listen, we got to wrap this thing up.
Yep.
People are getting tired of listening to us talk probably. Before we wrap this up, I want you to do some shout outs.
Okay.
And hit them all, though. Don't hold back.
Okay.
And go.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So, first of all, is this, I don't know if this is appropriate on your venue, but I got
Are you going to curse?
No.
Shit, no.
Yeah. Okay, I got a shout out to Tits McGee.
Can you say that in the mic, please?
I got a shout out to Tits McGee.
What the? Who's Tits McGee?
At Charlie B's.
Okay. I won't ask.
In Missoula, Montana. If you go there, you can get 3 beer glasses full of cocktails for $12.50. And if you tip her well, I mean, they're coming right back around again. I got a shout out to Rick D's.
Weekly top 40 or
No,
D's nuts?
Yeah, Rick D's. He wrote a book called Pecker Tracks.
That's right. Okay.
And it's one of the greatest books I ever read. If you grew up in the 70s or the 80s, you need to read Rick D's Pecker Tracks. It's a great book. I got a shout out to
Kelly. Up your friends up Montana, Kelly Sager.
I love
Kelly.
God, I love Kel.
I'm sorry, Kelly.
Yep. Got a shout out to Kel. I love her. And then shout out to Grubby.
Who?
Grubby.
Yes, me. That would be me. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't told that story yet, where Grub Burner comes from, but that's another time. So let me ask you this. You probably remember this clear back in episode 3. I used to say spit and wisdom. Spit wisdom.
Yep.
I don't do that all the time now, but I still like to find some sort of quote. And the weird thing is I kind of do it for work, too, when we have our weekly meetings. For some reason, my lead always says, okay, and when you look at the itinerary, at the end of it, it says Les's words of wisdom, and I always have to. And today, can I share what I did today?
Yeah.
Today, here's what I read.
So I can't do my first spitting with wisdom. My first spitting wisdom was don't be a dick.
Excuse me.
I think that was my first one.
Well, let me read this one to you. And this is one of your relatives. This is from comedian Billy Conley. He says, before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes. After that, who cares? He's a mile away and you got his shoes. So I thought that was cute.
That's beautiful.
My quote would be this. That was from work, but my quote is this. It's from the great Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. He is, some say, a self-help, but he's really more of a pain management doctor, very intelligent, East Coast guy. Look him up. He's incredible. And he knows a lot about meditation, and he's just a wise guy. But here's something he always says, and I love this. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Boom. John Kabat-Zinn, what do you got for us?
That's tight.
That is tight.
You know what? Don't judge.
Yeah.
Just don't judge. Because there's a lot of people out there, and you can't tell what they're going through, and just don't judge.
Right on.
Might be a homeless guy walking down the street. Don't judge. Might be some gal that comes through the bar, and she might be a mess.
That's right.
She might have had a bad day. Don't judge.
Don't judge. I have people I love that might look or appear that way to some.
Whew.
And you're just like, did you poop yourself?
No, we're going to hug it up on camera.
Oh, okay.
Love you, brother.
All right. Wait, I got to play the outro song, though.
We hugged it up.
We got to do it again.
Well, hug it up.
All right. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and listening to the show. If I had the notes right, okay. I want to thank tonight's guests, listeners, and sponsors. Bill Murphy Roofing, Wandering Wizard Concepts, Vertical Jigs and Lures, Liberty Detection Services, DCL Photography, The Shop, DieselFuelFilterKits.com. Shout out to Aaron down in Bend. Guy's a master fabricator if you need something built. History Hunters and Firearm Antiquities, Metal by MOURA, Pendleton Outfitters, RidgeTop TV, and the JON P. Salter Foundation. That's a wrap, folks. Be sure to catch the next episode. Until then, keep your nose clean if it takes both sleeves, my grandpa always said, and say nice things about us, because we are gone.
And if God wanted you to watch your mouth the whole time, you'd have kept your eyes probably someplace close to it.
Boom.